Hello, and welcome back to the Clockwork Dragon Tavern. I am your host and tavern keeper, Dragon, and welcome back to another map making stream today. I hope everyone's doing good on this morning. I was going to say morning, but it's actually not morning where I am anymore, but I'm sure it's morning for some of you and for other people. So, morning works, afternoon, whatever time it is. Hope it's a good one. Now, we're gonna be doing some map making. Do excuse if I go silent at times, just having a little bit of gum pain, mouth pain, gum pain, I guess would be the correct term. So I might go silent at times, but overall, it should be okay. Now we're doing more map making today, and I've loaded up the incarnate ready because I've been thinking about what to do for this map. So we're gonna do another subscriber map first of all, and then see how long that takes. And this will be Moonlit's subscriber map. So Moonlit subscribed a little some time ago. When was it? Moonlit Crown subscribed 9 days ago, which is wonderful. And Moonlit wasn't, what was it? Wasn't fully certain on a specific idea for the map, just something kingdomy to fit with Moonlit's theme. So I thought, since we've been given some freedom with this map, I'm gonna try and be experiment a little. My first thought was to load up Dungeon Alchemist and make like a nice castle map of like a castle floor plan or something. But I want to be a bit experimental with this, so we're gonna work on this until it looks good. I might even work on it a bit off stream if I don't finish it in time at the end of this stream. So we're gonna go try and make a kingdom for Moonlit. We're gonna try and make a nice little kingdom map. So we're on a different setting in Incarnate now. So normally you've seen me using the battle map setting, but this time we're on the regional setting, which just gives us some new pre-made stamps. Honestly, it doesn't make much difference. The base tool is the same, and you can always look at the other ones, but it makes it easier to bring up the list of the recommended stuff. Now, the first thing we want to do, this is going to be a bit more of a complicated map, is we're going to add a second layer to the map. We're going to have this map is going to be 2 layers. So we're going to have a top layer and a bottom layer. We're going to try and go for some elevation, basically. Now, I'm going to just fill in a bunch of land up here. This might change, but I need to sort of think about like where I want this elevation to go and what I want it to look like. On there, I think this is a decent. So there we go. We've got an elevation, some elevation there. So we've got an elevated part and a lower part of this map. I am actually going to cut back this elevated part a little bit. So I think it might be a bit too much. So we're going to just cut back a little here, and we're going to curve it down like this, and then straighten it off like that. So the aim here is I'm going to make a nice little kingdom for Moonlit. I'm going to make a little map of a kingdom, and I'm aiming for this to be almost a city that's built at 2 elevations. So there's going to be one part, like the upper city, on top of a cliff, and the rest of the city is going to be down at the base of the cliff, and there's going to be like some stairs going up or something like that. That's my aim. We're going to see how well that comes across. Now, we need to add some texture to this that actually fits. Now, I want some like sandy texture, so that's dirt, terrain, bricks, tiles, overlay. No, none of that is going to be quite what we want. We want a nice sandy texture, first of all, for the beach. We're going to make a little beach. Oh, here we go. We've got some sand here. We're going to use like one of these desert ones, maybe. I wonder if there's actually like a beach. No, there isn't a beach option. So we'll go for one of these desert sandy ones, because those should do well enough. So I'm going to go for this one. And what I'm first going to do is on the background, I'm just going to color everything in beach. This is going to change. It's not all. It's not going to be an entire half of a city built on a beach. This is just going to make it easier to start off with. We're going to cover this all in sand. Like so. Now I want to layer this. So there's going to be really 3 layers of design on the bottom itself. And I actually think with this idea, I've got this idea in my head, right? I've got what I want it to look like. So I want this here to be a cliff, this top part, and I want to have a river running along around the city that comes down off the cliff onto as in a waterfall that goes into the beach and straight in to the ocean. So we're just gonna actually bring that down a bit while leaving most of this here. I think I maybe need this to be a sharper turn. So just like this. There we go. So this is going to be where the big city is, and then this is going to be like our beach line almost. Now we want to add some ocean for sure, which means we want a really good ocean. Now that's snow and ice. That's not what we want. That's more sand, more rocks. There's actually more desert here as well. But I'm happy with the sand we've got. What we want is some nice ocean. Here we go, ocean. There's an entire folder just for ocean. This is perfect. So we're gonna grab a nice one, and I think a nice darker blue would look good here. And we're gonna just paint this. Actually, nah, I think that's too dark. That's too dark for a beach ocean. That's more for like lighter a tide out in the open ocean. I feel like we want to go for a lighter water at the coast. So something like this, and it's gonna be angled somewhat, so we're not dead on looking from the shoreline. So the ocean's gonna be here and come across. We want it to come across this way and sort of up this way, like this. I think. Is that? We might fit in a little bit of sand here, try and level it off a bit. Don't want it to be too steep of an angle. And I'm thinking this is almost like a port. There's gonna be like a port here. For sort of port town, port city vibe. Like this. Okay. We're getting somewhere there. Then I want the actual and that's just the same thing. We want some stone or dirt. We want a structural ground for the actual city itself. How's that look? That's not bad. That's not bad actually for the structure, for the stonework of the city. But I think we can find better. I think we can find better than that. Material stone, a dark. Yeah, I think going for this darker ground, that looks better to me. So we're gonna fill that in like that. Gonna run it along the edge of the beach, like that. Here we go. Hey, Jesse, thank you for the look. Welcome in. So we're gonna do this. There we go. I'm happy with that? Yeah, I'm happy with it. It's just the start for now. Hopefully, it should look a lot tidier once we've actually sort of merged the land together properly and placed in buildings and stuff. Now, we actually want to use the same rock here up on the higher city. It's not going to take up the entirety of the top, however. Rather, I think the city is going to encompass, like, this area here. And it's going to sort of curve around up here. I'm envisioning there being, like, a castle up on the top as well. There we go, about like that. And this will be where the upper city is. And we just want to curve that around. Like that. There we go, there we go. That's getting somewhere. So this is sort of going to be the rough shape of the city. Although, I'm sort of cutting it off at the edge here. And really, I want to show the full city. I don't want to be cutting it off here. So I might actually need to do some adjustments here. I want to have the wall of the city be at this edge. I don't want it to go right to the edge. So I'm actually going to just grab not the sand. Yeah, I'm going to grab some dirt. Dirt, grass. No, actually. So, because I want this to be. Is that snow? Perfect, snow. We're gonna use snow because Moonlit's sort of avatar and vibe is a husky. I believe a Siberian husky to be precise. I believe so. We want to go for a bit more of a wintry vibe with this to match the sort of Siberian husky thing going on. So we're actually going to use snow up here, and you can still have a beach in a snowy environment. Sand still exists even in a snowy environment at the shore. So it's not gonna be a very big sunny beach, more of a cold wintry beach. There might be some specks of sand there. I actually might search up what beaches in colder environments look like. But I'm thinking most of the snow and ice and is up here on the top. Now I'm actually going to cover over some of this rock and then put it back. We're also going to actually do that. And then the lower city is going to be a bit more dirt, a bit less snow, because it's got these sort of cliffs shielding it. So there's going to be a bit of grass. We'll add a bit of grass. A sort of a dark grass like this. Or maybe not. Nah, I'm not a fan of how that looks. We'll keep with the rocky environments down there, so it's a bit stony. And now we just want to do that, smooth that up, and we're gonna just smooth up some the bits up here. And once we add in the walls for the city and stuff, this should look a lot better and a lot less of conflicting environments. It should begin to look like a proper little city. So here we go. We've got the basics here. So now we're actually going to start putting in some stamps. Now, the first thing I want to do here is find the walls. Here we go. We want to put in some walls for the city. Going for medievally vibe. I think these walls work pretty well, and then we've got these battlements. We've got battlements as well. But I think these walls will work sort of well. Now, walls also require towers. The curved walls, though, I do like I like walls that can curve. So maybe we go for something a bit more fancy. What I'm looking for is here we go, towers. So we've got towers that we can attach to the walls. It's the idea. So yeah, we're gonna go with these walls now. This will help us sort of smooth out the actual look of the city. See, immediately, yeah, it's the angles are definitely going to be changing up a bit. That's too steep an angle. I don't like that, so I might actually go something like that. A flat, a straight wall like that. Ooh, we've got... I feel like that goes too high then. What if... Okay, what if I tried something like this instead? Okay, like that. There we go. That actually, with it going partially off the map, looks a bit more, flows a bit better. Now, we need to remember, leave room for the towers here, so this is going to be adjusted a bit. We need that to match up correctly there. Almost. It's a little off, I feel like. There we go. Or maybe if I put a tower, that'll excuse the offness, and that'll probably make it look better. There we go. So that's the rough position of the walls. That's gonna be stitched in properly once we add in our towers. Now, do we want... Ooh. I could put in square towers. Or I could put in some of these round towers. These bastions to cover the joints between walls. Now, looking at how the bastions are meant to connect, they should be touching the ground, right? Or should they? No, I don't know. I don't really know. I think they work like that. Like that. You can see it's like it's clinging onto the wall. Right. The problem with that is it doesn't... Well, it'll help... Actually, that'll help hide sort of unseemly joins between the walls. So we'll try that. So we're gonna try using these. So we've got three different sort of directions that they face. So the first one is gonna go here, connect to here, to this wall, to hide that join. This one's gonna go on against that wall, which means this behind can move up like that, and hopefully be not as noticeable. The join shouldn't really be too noticeable, is the idea here. Nah, that's not really working when you change direction, is it? That would be more for, I feel like, placing in the middle to hide the gap between two walls facing the same direction. So we're actually gonna grab a tower here. Okay. This is a challenge. I don't make buildings like this fairly often in this, so this is a nice little challenge. So that joins there. What I want to do, I suppose, is like that, so it looks like it's come out from the tower there. So the door is like opened out at an angle. Yeah, that works. That works much better. Okay. Then I want to put another one here. So we want to sort of get the angle, get the side, the location about right, like that. And that allows us to lead this wall into here. And what we could do is put little doors there to make it look like there's a door that leads into the tower. Now we just need to link these two together, like that. And this is when our circular towers are going to come into play. So this, we're going to plop down one of these here to sort of hide the fact that these two walls are not actually connected. So we're going to like pop down this little bastion here. Does that look good? Does that look good? I feel like that looks good. And that's why it's kind of, I mean, it kind of blocks off the actual path on top of the wall. Like, so how do people get from one side to the other unless they have like maybe a little ladder to climb up and down? That might work. That's what we'll try. Then we're going to have another one of these, and we're going to be very careful with our placement. We want to place it correctly. About there. And now what we need to do is actually have this. This part's going to be the part that needs to be maintained properly. This wall is going to have to come off here, and we're going to have to, hopefully it looks natural enough. This wall comes down like that. Does that look right? Yeah. However, this is not going to reach the bottom, is it? It's sort of... We have to cheat this a bit to Make it reach the bottom properly. Like, there we go. Actually, let's put a tower down here. Like that. And what we can do is... we can put a second tower up here. And we can basically cheat it to make the wall appear longer than it actually is. Because all we have to do is block that off like that a little bit. And then move this wall up like this. There we go. And now we've got a fairly not bad wall, not too shabby. That's the one that problem transition that looks a bit awkward, but I don't know if there's really a way to avoid that. I feel like these pieces were designed for making perfectly square fins using these towers, but what's the fun in that? What is the fun in a perfectly square kingdom? This isn't Minecraft, you know. Other shapes exist, and I rather like using them. So, as nice as the curved walls look, and I would love to just those would make stuff so much easier. I'm happy with those walls. I kind of do wish I could move them a bit further in. But I don't see a way in which that is possible. Unless I shifted the entire fin and had this edge of the map actually go off the edge. So I could shift the entire fin sideways and have parts of the map go off the edge. And maybe I will, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that, so I'm going to keep it like it is. Now that we've gone that, we can actually fill in some of this now, where we know should be stone and not snow. Like that. Now we're not going to have walls on the underside. That's something I've decided. What we are going to do is find some doors. Are there no doors? No. Okay, no, that's okay, that's okay. That's okay, it just means that these will stay like that. Okay, okay. What I'm going to do next is grab a cliff. So somewhere along here there's a cliffs option. Terribly sorry, excuse me. There's a cliffs option along here, and we're going to use that to make our cliffs. Fortifications, no, that's not it. Towers, nope, not anymore. City, structures, cities, we'll get to that. Wells, terrain, cliffs, here we go. So, we have a selection of cliffs that we are going to use to make our drop here. What I actually want to do is make it bigger, first of all. I want this drop to be bigger than that. I think I'm going to up this to about 200%. Now we need to place our cliffs. I honestly feel like that's still not a big enough drop. So, because what I want is to have those stairs. Where was it? there's stairs in one of the fins. I think it was under walls. Where we have this, wall stairs. And I want to have some of those going up. Okay. Oh, actually, no. These wall stairs are going up onto the walls, aren't they? Okay, so let's add a few of these in onto our walls, actually. And we're going to up them a layer so they're always on top of the walls. So there's one set of wall stairs. There's here's one over here. Here we go. We got over here. There we go. Okay, so that's now how people get up to there. We still need stairs leading up to the main city itself, though, from down below. But, I mean, we can sort of figure that out once we place the cliffs, honestly. But I want this cliffs to be big, so we're going to set it to 200. And drop some cliffs down, and this will look tidier when we've fully put it together and edited it. We're gonna do it like that. No, that's not right. There we go. Oof. This is... There we go. We want to... Probably best, yeah, to start at one end and work my way around to the other end. So we're going to start here. Like that. And we're going to work our way around this little kingdom we've made. So... That cliff doesn't really work. Continuing from this spot is going to be difficult. Oh no, there we go. That helps. That helps bridge the gap between there. And we're gonna drop that one down. Like that. It is making this down part a lot smaller than I wanted it to be, which is my one worry here. Anything else is going to make the rest of the city up there too small, unless I do this like that. There we go. Drag that across. There we go, like that, followed by that. That works. And then we just need to finish it off Like that. Okay, so this is clearly drastically changing what it's actually going to look like as well. So we need to fill in the gap. So we're going to just fill in the gap there. The aim, of course, is to make the line between the up and down imperceptible except for the cliffs. The cliffs should look like the natural lines. We're actually going to turn off that shaping on the excavation and just ever so neatly brush up and touch up the edges. So the cliffs should be hiding the gap between the two edges, the 2 points. Like this. It's a very, very carefully aimed like that, and we want to just get rid of the line there, that's visible line that we can see along some parts of this. And what we're actually going to then do is remove that line completely. We just need to make sure that this is all painted properly. See, up here we've got a bit. This line was useful for initial creation. Oh, that wasn't a line at all, is it? No, that's part of the cliff. That's fine. There we go. And now, yeah, I'm happy with that. So what we're going to actually do here is we're going to turn off the stroke and all of these shadow effects. Although, actually, we might keep the upper inner shadow. We'll keep inner shadow on. We're gonna just touch up the edges of the cliffs where it's a bit grassy with rock. There we go. Like that. And then we just need to move this down to the very edge, because this should be meeting at the very edge of the cliff. And we're actually going to have to bring it up 2 layers to make sure this tower is on top of the cliff. This allows me to stretch that out. There we go. What I actually might do here is we're gonna move these across like this, and use one of these instead of the other tower to try and hide this. Nah, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. It's gonna look even messier than what we've got. It's gonna look too messy. So that's okay. That's decent. I'm happy with this. And I could always put something else there, like a gate or something, to explain the difference. Gate. The wall gates. Structural components, walls, gates, wooden gates. We don't want wooden gates. We want a nice stone gate. But nah, there's nothing like that. There's nothing matching what we're after there that I can see. This will do. So there we go. We've got the basic structure of our little city. We're going to go to the background. We're going to now sort of extend this land a bit because of the clash between there. So we're going to extend this a bit, make the beach smaller. There we go. Okay. So we've got that there. We're gonna work from the top down here, I think. So I want to work on some of the scenery in the background. Hey, Bunny! Yes, we're doing some of the map. We're working on Moonlit Crown's subscriber map. So we're experimenting and making a little city. How you doing, darling? Hi. I hope you slept well. Let's see. We want mountains. We want. What we need is map there encompasses fabric, glass. We need there's a mountains one somewhere here. Flowers, plants, mushrooms, potted plants, trees. You slept well? Yes. I slept good, yeah. I actually slept really well. It was a nice sleep. Last night. Let's see. We want... Where is it? So that's terrain. Okay, terrain. Perfect. Mountains. Now we want some frosty mountains. Now some of these mountains, yeah, they're not as frosty at the tip as I would like. I like frostier mountains. I want some good frosty mountains, like snow capped. That's green mountains. Here we go. We've got the grey mountains. But we've also got these ones that start stony and end frosty. But this is a very frosty area, so we're going to go for one of these. It's great to hear. Yay! Yes, thank you. So I imagine this is a pretty well defended kingdom because there's just all these mountains behind it. Compare the mountain size to the wall size. Why is the mountain the size of the wall? That's when it's further away. If it got closer, I'd have to make it a lot bigger. But I think these mountains are too small at first. So there we go. We're going to make it bigger. Honestly, I worry that I've made this too big. The actual city itself compared to the background. I might shrink it down. I do worry I've made this too big. I was trying to take some inspiration from one of the example cities, which did look smaller. But if the focus of this map is going to be the city itself, then maybe this will work okay. Let's place some mountains behind it. Hey, dinosaurs! Thank you for the dinosaurs, buddy. Thank you very much. Everyone needs some nice dinosaurs. Thank you. Thank you. I am trying my best. This is a bit of an experimental map. I've never really made a map like this properly before. This is new for me. So there's the mountains. There should be terrain. There's a terrain. Oh, winter. Oh, we've got winter terrain. Well, we've used those mountains. Ah, waves. Here we go. This is going to be for the edge of the water. Now we're actually going to turn it a bit. Just a bit. Up the scale a little bit, and we're going to put these waves at the edge, like this. They're sort of meant to represent where the water breaks against the where the tide breaks against the edge of the land. So this some adjustments will be made to the water based on the position of these. So we're gonna put that there. Like that? Yeah, like that. Do excuse me, I feel like I'm gonna sneeze again. Couldn't reach for the mic mute in time. Oops. Sorry about that. Allergies, probably, maybe. Something like that. Right, so there we go. We've got some nice incoming tide there, and I'm just gonna put a few more waves just out like here. Just for decoration, make it look nice. Now we're gonna use that to paint in this beach a little, get the beach and the sea right. So these waves should be the breaking point where the water breaks up on the beach. So we need to do that. Oh, sorry, terribly sorry. You are right. And yeah, I'm fine. Right, so you want to do that. 1, 2. So do this here. Like that. That should look good. There we go. We're gonna bring it around. There we go. My eyes are mostly fine. It's like the allergies or something. I'm all good. Thank you. There we go. So that's the beach brought forwards. Now we need to bring some of the water forwards on like these points here. We do this. Like that. There we go. Bring this up that way. Like that. Same thing over here. We need to just bring the water in. There we go. There we go. And we've got now, it's looking a lot nicer. Like it's looking like a lot more natural blend between the sand and the ocean. We are also we want to make a river that flows through this part up here, and I think the best way to make a little river is going to be using these cliffs again. We're going to make them smaller, and we're going to use particularly these ones to try and make like the running riverbed. I feel like maybe that's work. The edge of the river. That's what the example one I saw did, and it did it really well. The question is whether we can make it work. Cause that's not gonna work for a river. No. We've got waterfalls. Actually, the shadow itself actually helps to provide some difference between one part and another. So maybe we use the shadow there as our differentiator. Like that. Oh, nah, that does not look nice, like a nice natural river there. Thank you, Starry. Thank you. Okay, we're gonna try and use this. Make it nice and make it smooth. So we're gonna have it come up. We'll paint all this in river colors later. So we're gonna have the river come up here. So it's gonna go past the city. Like that. I feel like these fins, they worked really well in the example map that I saw. It looked really good. But that was a much deeper river. That was a deep river. I want this to be a deeper river. That's the fin. I want this to be a deep river that flows down. But I also want it to flow off here in a waterfall. So I'm not sure those are going to work. I'll stick to this idea. So I want to just do that. There's going to need to be a gate and a way out of this city. That is one thing that I haven't done yet. Ads start in 3 minutes. We run a regular ad block on the channel once an hour to prevent pre-rolls and support the channel. So, you know, thank you for patience in dealing with them. And yeah, subscribers and Twitch Turbo users do not see ads. And yeah, that's that. So we're gonna be just continuing making this as they play. So let's see. I'd like maybe this river to run towards the mountains. I wonder, can I make it run up in between the mountains? Have this mountain run like that. Have this run like that. There we go. So we've got that. We're gonna just paint in that river nicely. So we're gonna paint in this nice darker for the flowing water river. So we're gonna paint this in. There we go. I might also mess around with the shadows here. If I put on outer shadows as well. What does that look? Nah, it doesn't look as good, I feel like. That stroke makes it clearly defined, but also, I don't know if that looks good though. Or maybe it does. Actually, that doesn't look too bad. That gives you a bit more of an edge. So we're gonna go with that. Now what we need to do is put in the waterfall. Which will be like here. We need a thinner one. We need to up the layer. I don't like the angle that that's got. Maybe this one of these ones that go straight on the just straight angle, and we need to clearly change the size. Here we go. The waterfall runs like that. Although, is that... No, I don't think I can get away with an angle there. We're gonna have to deal with doing that for our waterfall. Over the edge of the cliff, like that. In fact, what we can do is... What I should do is... No, because the waterfall is somewhat opaque, so you're gonna see behind it regardless. What I can, however, do is shift this up a little bit. Maybe turn it a bit. Maybe I use a different cliff here to make this look right. What if I go for something like that? And then I grab that waterfall and move it down a bit. Move it to the side a bit as well, and just give this a bit of a turn so that it collides at the right point. There we go. There we go. That's kind of what we're going for. Now we just need to continue the river down here. Right down towards into the sea. Towards the water, into the sea. Now obviously we want that to look... Oh, we want it to look good. But we can't subtract any more from this. It's already subtracted. So we need to create some sort of bank to the river here. So maybe this is the point where we have a little bit of cliff. Oh no, that doesn't look right. That doesn't look right. Thank you, buddy. Thank you for the confidence. How about we just be very clever? And we want to add some strokes. That's a dot. That's dotted. I don't want dotted. I think all of the light. Yeah, they're all gonna be here. Okay. Let's see what I can do here. With these. Fire tracks. No, I don't want any of that. What I want is some form of cliff face. Okay, that's a kind of cliff. That's a cliff, but I feel like that's too jutty. It juts out too much. You could try it. Whoa, way too big, way too big. That is... If it can actually go into focus, it might look good. But it's a bit out of... It's quite out of focus, isn't it? No, okay, no. What we want is... a line in the sand. Quite literally a line in the sand. Maybe something along that. Make it bigger. See, that'll work to make it stand out if we can get the color of the line right. We can sort of blend it in with the sand a bit. Is the idea. Or go the opposite way, but no, it needs to look like an embankment. What is it? The stroke we have there, that's a darker, okay, the darker stroke might actually work. We want it to still sort of match the sand somewhat. Maybe something like that? can try that. And try doing the same on this side. Oh dear, I've messed that one up. Let's try that. There we go. That doesn't look bad. I think it at least differentiates it quite well. It blends in sort of with the sand. So then we just gotta touch up the edges of the river, make sure it looks good. Like that. Ah, is that a head pat? Is that a head pat emote? That's lovely. That's adorable. Thank you. There we go. Thank you, Bernie. Thank you. That is adorable. Absolutely adorable. But there, we've got the river flowing into... I actually might make this river here lighter as it flows into the ocean. And remove the waves, obviously, that causes an issue at this point right here. So remove that one wave. Or, okay, I can't fully remove it without messing up the line, but what I think I can do, I should be able to do, is clip in. There should be a clip in. Clip-in masks. Here we go. Oh. I'm not entirely sure how the clip-in mask works exactly. This is new to me. Oh, here we go. Right. Oh, no. So it sort of blocks off that wave, like that. Now I just need to actually color it. Is that just with the foreground coloring? Yes. There we go. What I actually might do is add some smaller waves to hide the edges of the mask. Basically to look like the disruption to the water from the river flowing in. And we're going to put a few smaller waves in the actual river itself. Like that. There we go. That sort of disguises that. So we've got the river flowing in. We've got the rest of the water sort of splashing against the beach. We've got the mountains. Now we have to actually put in buildings into this city. So now comes the actual city stuffs. Oh, sea spray. Hold on, this is intriguing. That looks like it could be used decently at some points. We're actually going to pop a little bit of it at various other parts, just to give a little bit of breakage to the normal monotony of this area. There we go. We're going to do that. Where it breaks against the beach. And again, over by there for certain. Okay, now let's add in the buildings. So, not fire. We don't want fire. God rays. Okay, we want origins, plants, properties. That's all broken. We don't want this to be broken. We want this to be nice. Buildings, houses. Here we go. So we've got lots of houses. We got huts, lighthouses. Ooh, we should put a lighthouse. We should put a lighthouse over here somewhere, like there. And then what we want to do is have like use the sea spray to around the edges of this lighthouse to show the ocean spray, the ocean and waves sort of crashing against the edges of it. Like that. Oh, my mouse just died. My mouse battery is dying. So we might actually have to end up on trackpad for some of this map making. So this is going to make it a little trickier because we're having to move to the trackpad while my mouse charges. But we'll see. It should be fine. It should be fine. So we've got a lighthouse there. Any city with a docks that might have sharp rocks or cliffs nearby should have a decent lighthouse. Now, what we want is is it actually possible for me to move around without a mouse wheel? I don't know if it is. Oh, no, that's the wrong button. That's left click, right click. Yeah, I don't know if I can actually... Hold on. Oh, there we go. I can reset the position in panning or space plus. Oh, okay, I can do that. So I can drag the map around like that. That's good. That's good. Yes, there is music on. You should be able to hear it actually in the corner, in the background. Okay, so This isn't the most intuitive thing. Can I charge the mouse via USB from the laptop? Actually, maybe. You don't hear any music. You should hear the music. It's pretty quiet, but you should hear it. I think I might have a cable. A charging cable. Somewhere? I'm not sure where. It's a USB-C cable. You only hear my voice. You should be hearing the music. Can you hear that now? Oops, I accidentally opened Epic Games. Excuse that. Now you hear it. Okay, okay. Yeah, the spacebar left click thing doesn't really work very well. We are gonna save though. We're gonna let's quickly save this. I don't want to lose anything. So this will be no, it was Moonlight, not Midnight. Moonlit Kingdom. What I could look for cable. Actually, no, wait, I think this is fine. I think I can use this cable. I can use it while it's charging, I think. So I should be able to use the mouse even while it's plugged in and charging. Yeah, I can. Okay, that's fine then. Oh my god, is that a Jeff? Is that a Jeff emote? That looks like Jeff. That looks like Jeff, the adorable shark. Now, let's see. We've got a lot of things, a lot of buildings to put down, so we want to start placing these down. Now, let's start with some. Actually, let's start with the docks, shall we? Let's start with the docks and work inwards to the city. So, first of all, we really need to obviously have the dockyard itself. No, we've got. Oh yeah, we've got the quays. We can put up a few of those around the docks. The quay stairs. Those are. Okay. How would that look? Thinking this through, I'm not sure about the sand after all, if it'll mesh well with the docks. So I might remove some of the sand. I might have like an area of beach and then the rest be like built up concrete. So let's do that. We're going to remove a lot of the sand. We're going to leave a little bit of beach. Oops, hold on. I need to be careful when doing this. Not to overwrite the water. So we're going to remove the sand by here. We're going to have the city actually be built out right directly near the water. Probably a bit higher. It'll be a little bit above water level, and then the beach will be a bit lower. That's my thinking. So I'll have like some quays. I'll have some raised ground, which the ocean is crashing up against. And I like the idea of the lighthouse being there. I might actually move the lighthouse deeper into the ocean and have like a bridge to go to it or something. I'll leave the lighthouse there. And then I'm going to have other parts. Okay, so the lighthouse is going to be there around the actual sandy area. And then other parts of the city will be a bit raised. So the lighthouse itself is going to be here with this sort of sand. And it's going to be like a little road that leads to it. Or maybe, yeah, so the lighthouse will be around sand. This is going to stretch down here. Like that. But we're actually going to have spots where the stone interjects forwards. It'll probably be best to just designate those spots first. So we're going to have like the docks themselves around here. And what I'm thinking is raised platforms maybe with the quays, or... yeah, I'm thinking we have it be a bit raised up out of the water. And then the stairs go down to water level, and we'll have the docks come away from the stairs. Maybe. So we'll actually have this city be built up like this. We're gonna... And then we'll have another part where it goes down to the beach. So the beach will be like over here. Okay, and if that's like built into the mountain. Like that. Then it goes like that. I'll think, and then we... Actually, we'll open it up. We'll open that up a bit more. And when it's all finished, it should look like a raised area. So if we do that, like that, going out that way, and that going out that way, that's the foreground, isn't it? Yeah. Like that. What we want is then that to go like that. There we go. Now this is coming together in a way. This is starting to come together in a way that in the way I want. Like that. So this is going to be this sort of large raised promenade. Oh, you're going to look? No problem, Starry. Have a good look. So what we've got here is essentially this raised sort of area that goes off into the water a bit, this raised stonework, and then goes back down. What we really need is we need to figure out how where it meets up. So we gotta here we go. Gotta link that up like that. There, that's the better way to do it. Rather than having the obvious 2 brick in between the parts, we merge it together like that into one. Right, that's how we're supposed. That's how this is designed to be built. Actually, it's fake, isn't it? Oh, well, actually no, because they are 2. There's every other one is 2 space. Okay, no, so I was wrong about how that's designed. It's specifically designed so you put them next to each other and not on top. Except for when it comes to corners, where we have to do that, because otherwise it doesn't look right. Do I want this to go further out, is the question. I think I do. Like, one further out. Just like that. And then we can plop that in nice and simply like that. And we want a shorter one there, because it's getting back onto the land, so we don't need it to go too far. Then that comes in there with the connection like that. There we go. There we go. That's what we wanted. So now, if we actually grab our painting and we just drag this across here, what we find once I've removed that wave, what we're going to find here is that we have basically created a nice little raised section that should blend in pretty well. And the fact that this part is clearly raised will give an optical illusion, basically, that makes this part also look raised, even when it's not. So that it'll look like it's... look like that's a slope there, is the idea. The idea is to make that look like a slope. I'm not sure how good that is, and I'll replace that with stairs if I need to. I'll put just some stairs there. And that's actually perfectly perfect height there, because there we go. Now there's no fin, so that clearly looks like a nice raised area. Question is how I bring it, how I want to make it reach the lighthouse. So that's clearly raised, and then it goes down here, and a slope down into the stair. I feel like I should have stairs here rather than a slope. I feel like a slope will be useful in some areas, but here I think it's going to look better with stairs. So we're going to do that. And now we're going to add in those stairs. So we want... I don't think we don't need the quay stairs there. We just need normal stairs. But what we do need the quay stairs for is over here. And we're gonna plonk some there, and then we're gonna put some here because we want to have multiple docks here. Actually, what I might do is move these along We have some there. We have some there. And then we have some here at the edge. And we have basically 3 little docks. Which we're going to extend out with some proper docks. See, this is the kind of thing we're making here. So, we need to extend those out to some actual docks. Now, these... No, that's not good enough. Here we go. We've got lots of dock assets here. So we're gonna... Let's just use some of these wooden docks, yeah. And we want to extend that forwards into the ocean. Maybe even... like along... Oh. Like, yeah, like that. Although, actually, I feel like... Is that a smart dock design? I don't know. I don't know much about dock design. They normally have, like, L-shaped, aren't they? Docks are, like, normally L-shaped, weirdly, like that. Oh, but maybe if I put the L-shape down at the bottom there... Or maybe not. Maybe I don't need an L-shaped dock. Just doing it like this will allow the ships to come in and park alongside the docks. Drop anchor. I mean, dropping anchor is just basically just parking for sailing ships. It's just the sailing ship version of parking. So yes, park. I will use the word park your ship as much as I want. There we go. That's the second dock down, and the third dock is actually extends off the map a little, which is actually fine. That's perfectly fine. That goes like there. Here we go. So now we've got these docks. And what we're gonna do here is we're gonna take that sea foam. Again, we're gonna make it smaller again. And we're just gonna use some of this along the edge to show where the ocean is sort of cracking against the sides of the quay and the docks and isn't particularly happy. We're going to have to make this one smaller because it is colliding with the docks and we don't want that. Unless, actually, what I can do here is just have it be its usual size. I have to move it up a few layers to make this placed properly. Like there we go. And all I have to do is take the actual dock itself, not that. Take these docks and just drop them up a couple of layers. Same goes for that, and then I just need to do the same to all of the mini docks here. So just like that. 1, 2. And just also blonk them up a couple of layers. There we go. And there we go. So we've got the sea spray sort of smashing against the sides. We've got the docks there. That's all looking wonderful. I'm actually really happy with that. We need some stairs over here next to so people can get down to the beach. So we're gonna search for for stairs specifically. Structural components, stairs. A lot of it is the same. I need thicker stairs, but not the dock stairs. Woo, that's pretty cool. I want to use that someday in a map. No, that's not the right type of stairs. Okay, let's try some of these. I mean, they could certainly work and get you down to the beach, but I want it to be head-on. That's not head-on. That's angled down from up there. I want the stairs to be around here, down to the beach. Otherwise, I have to go from the plan of the slope plan I had last time, but I'm not sure how good that looks. I don't know if that actually looks like a slope. I suppose it does kind of look a bit like a slope. But it's not good enough for me. I'm not happy with that. Okay, maybe I will use these. And they just get to the bottom and then they just step off. It's not a big drop, so yeah, that'll do for getting down onto the beach. I guess that'll be okay. Now we need to also continue this wall that goes down this way, and should similarly contain some stairs for getting onto the lighthouse. Now at this point I also want this wall to start going up. I want it to start going upwards like that to meet up with the edge of the city up there. So I'm gonna lead it up like that. I do feel like maybe, okay, maybe that's not forwards enough. Maybe if I take it forwards a bit, one more piece before I send it up. There we go. And then I can send it upwards, and that should line up pretty well with what I've got up top, actually. Yeah, that lines up pretty well with the top wall. That's nice. That's exactly what I want. I am looking at it thinking that I might change the inner stonework to be less natural looking and look actually and be actual brickwork. And try and make it match the quay's brickwork a little bit. However, ooh, that's too far. I can't have it actually. It needs to reach the base of the cliff, not the cliff itself. So it can't reach up to the top of the cliff because that would go against what we're looking for here. So there we go. Now we just want to paint the bottom of these with the sand. There we go. Perfect. I'm liking how this is looking. Now, what I need next is what I'm actually going to do straight away now is put some brickwork in. No, not that brickwork. That doesn't look right. That brickwork? It looks better, but it doesn't. I want to match the brickwork we've got there, really. Stone tiles, stone. Oh, bricks. We're gonna Go for the, let's see. Structured roads. Pavement. Yeah, that's the only brickwork we're really getting here. I could try something like this. But the problem is that they're not angled correctly, you see? They are angled top down. This is angled at the right angle. So we'll do this brickwork, but let's see if we can like increase the size maybe. Let's say 150. That looks better. And do it like that. There we go. That's the foreground covered. Then back to the background. And like that, we get this sort of nice, almost seamless brickwork. We'll just excuse that as obviously the edge of the quays being built slightly differently. I don't know why they wouldn't have the quay bricks available, honestly. Like, why would you not have those available as a thing if that's what you're doing on the quays themselves? It's not available in the one here either, is it? No, that's not the right type. No, it really isn't. So I'm not really sure about the design of that and why they designed it that way. You know, maybe that's something that a future update of Incarnate could do to improve. Because it would be nice to have a proper seamless transition between the quay and the road, unless there is one and I'm just missing it somehow. But you'd think it would be under bricks, since they are bricks, and it's not there. So we're gonna just nice and simply fill in all of this here with brick. And now it's looking like a proper artificial city road. We're gonna do the same on the foreground up here. Here we go. Gotta do some there and like that. There we go. So now we've got the brickwork of our city. Now I think it's time to put in the proper buildings. And I'm going to start with like a warehouse, I reckon. Let's yeah, I don't need those anymore. Not yet, at least. Material stone. We have got some buildings in here. Like stone buildings and stuff. But I think it's just easier to filter if we look for the Properties and structures. Properties and structures. Stairs and walls we don't have to worry about that for now. Houses. Fortifications. What I'd like is a big warehouse-like building for the docks. I spelt that wrong, didn't I? House. Yeah, that doesn't work. That doesn't help particularly, but it narrows it down a little. I'd like a big open like warehouse building by the docks where things can be offloaded. I mean, guess something like that maybe. That doesn't look like give warehouse vibes to me though. That gives like tavern vibes, or a tavern or inn or like stable vibes. That's a mansion. They are snow buildings. Now these, we are in a snowy area, so snow build. I'm gonna use snow buildings when I can, for some parts of it. How does this look for the down docks? Does it, if we... Oh no, not like that. We need to flip it like that. Okay, no, this could be a suitable warehouse. I did set it back a bit like that. Ooh, we need a... There we go. We need to just set it up to the right layer. So... Yeah, there's like room there for things to be put in, for items to be taken into, and stuff like that. Is it too snowy though? Is that too snowy considering most of the rest down here is devoid of snow? And we've got like a nice beach down there. The upper section is definitely a bit more snowy. Maybe now I have a few snowy buildings. I think the closer they are to the walls, the less snowy they should be, because the walls block off the snow. This isn't near the walls. I'll let this be snowy over here. We're gonna actually have a couple of these. I wanna... The problem there is the door is on that side. That's gonna be facing the wall if I do it like that. So how about I position this warehouse, second warehouse, by there. So now we've got two warehouses. And this is one that's been selected as like a big lawn house. Ooh. That looks way too big for a house, doesn't it? So I think we better size them down. Actually, no, they can be bigger and then get smaller the further away they get and the closer to the back they get. Because perspective. We won't put any directly up against it. We'll put them like, so their roofs are there, minimum. Now we've got that. I think then we want some of this area left clear, and then we want other buildings to start around here. Now, there's got to be a marketplace, and then there's got to be a lot of housing. I'm thinking we have an upper market and a lower market. I'm thinking we have like a inn style building. We have a bigger building near the docks. And then we have a bunch of smaller buildings that could be like houses, people's houses. So I say we have maybe this near the docks as like an inn. Oh, I accidentally put one too many things down there. There we go. So we have an inn there near for the docks, and then we sort of are gonna have houses stuff. Maybe the marketplace should be near the docks. Like a dockside marketplace. That seems like it makes sense. That's a guardhouse. Market stalls. Here we go. Harbour theme. We're gonna. These should be obviously a lot smaller because they're just little market stalls. There we go. We've got just a couple of these like that. They're sort of Christmassy. I don't know why these ones in particular. Yeah, they seem Christmas decorated. That's fine though. Structures, huts, winter. Okay. I want house and winter. I want winter and houses. Tag winter and also tag houses. So here we go. We've got some examples of nice buildings. We've got like some Viking ones that look quite nice. We've got some huts. So now's the point where really we start building the houses. Set this back to 100 for now for the ones lining cordon. Lining the edge. And we're gonna have like this here. And there. Then we're gonna have... Oh, okay, and the next ad block is going to start in 3 minutes, just so you're aware. Let's see, we're gonna have this. Like that, and like that. Ooh, this should be... There we go. Oh no, wait. What I'm going to do is just set this house down there. That works. And then we've got like there, and that's like the first line of houses there. I'd like to ideally place down some buildings facing straight down as well, but everything's angled in this pack, so we're just gonna have to deal with the angles. The good thing about these buildings is they could feasibly be whatever you want them to be. Because there's no signs or this building must be this type or whatever. The buildings can be whatever you want them to be, really. They can be anything. Let's see. We're gonna... Now, this building I'm actually gonna make a bit smaller. And we're gonna start making them smaller as we go in, as we go further away. It's not a very big cliff. It's not going to be a very big cliff. It's maybe 30, 40 feet up. So it's in itself, it's not like a huge drop. But it should still be significant. Hence, making sure that things close to the cliff don't look too big. This I'm actually going to drop down to 60 as we get even closer to the back. There we go. So you can see how we're forming now this layer of the city. Now we have to be careful that none of these actually intersect with that wall there at all, because that's meant to be just a straight up wall. We have to be careful they don't like touch it and face behind it like that building there is doing a little bit of. Actually, no, it's not a wall, is it? These things are on top of it, so we can always just drop that down a level. Ooh, we'd have to drop all of these down a level because they are on top of this thing. It's not a wall; it's a drop. So there we go. That solves that problem. Now, getting back to this over here, and we're slowly sort of building back, filling up this little village, this little town, this city. Well, city. It's a straight up city. I think I'm gonna drop that down to 55. Gonna flip that. Until we get to the minimum of 50, right to the very, very back edge. There we go. And I quite like the look of that. So we can see the perspective shift as they get further away towards the edge, and it will do us. Then up here, this shouldn't be too noticeable. It should be fine. Well, we'll have them a little bit bigger at the front because they're higher up and closer, and then shift them back again. Now, we're gonna let's see. We're just basically gonna fill this up with buildings. That is the basic premise of what we have to do here. We want it to look like a packed and busy village. I'm actually going to leave a blank space here because we want to be able to put the stairs that go up to the top. we don't want it to be too blank, but that amount of blank space there will be good enough for what I want to implement. Because not only do we want some stairs to get up, we also want a like putty lift system, because as there's going to be, well, not only so any like, you know, disabled people in this town can get up to the top if they need, but also cargo. You know, in old towns, in old medievally places and stuff, you're gonna have like cargo lifts, right? And cargo to raise cargo and stuff up to the top. Ah, oh, right. I've seen the issue here, an issue here. So what I'm going to do to fix that is just simply make this down a level. Because the cliffs honestly don't need to be on any higher tier other than what they are like that. Like, that's perfect for them. Ooh, I've got a little notification telling me to save, so we'll quickly drop a save. Make sure it's all saved, because that's something we have to do frequently. Because otherwise, something goes wrong, we lose everything. And trust me, you do not want to know the pain of working for hours just to lose everything. I know that pain. I have felt that pain several times before. And I am determined not to feel it again. We're gonna just certainly raise the size a little bit as we get closer to the front, but in doing so we also need to make sure that we're moving a little further away from the cliff so as to not make it obvious that the houses are growing. Obviously these houses all in the idea in World roughly the same size. And it's just their proximity that makes them appear larger. We're gonna do that with that one. That's right. Now what we're gonna do here is this just requires us to raise a few things. However, it is messing with Is that mess with the waterfall at all? No, the waterfall remains the same. Well, actually, no, that does clip across the waterfall. Right, yes, of course, this is the issue that we have when this is the thing, the layers can be tricky at times, getting everything right. What we want to do is this. Because this part needs to be clearly hidden behind this cliff. We've got to raise that cliff, that's no choice. Means we've got to raise that. That's easy enough. This can honestly be as high as we need it to be. It just means we basically gotta just raise everything involved, like that. Everything involved in that collision just needs to be raised. We do then have the issue of that clipping through up to there. I was hoping that this would stop. No, that doesn't really stop that happening. This house is gonna clip through that no matter what, unless we can cleverly mask it. So I'm gonna go to the masking tool again. We're gonna a nice soft mask. To try and sort this out. And that actually, I think, is working. There we go, that works. There we go, that worked. Perfect. Problem is solved. So, this is the first time I've ever used that tool, by the way. I never tend to use the masking tool. Not for any reason, I'll be honest, I never knew it was there until today. But that is very, very useful, and I'm going to use it more often in the future. Let's drop this size here down to 70. Drop a couple of houses there. And there. So, we're fitting this up nicely now. All we've really got to do here is just keep filling up this space. Make it look like a nice, busy town. With lots of buildings, lots of houses, some of these are going to be shops. We're going to have stores and shops all over the place. Gotta be careful with layers. It's tricky, of course. All the houses really we want on the same layer. The problem is when it comes to the clipping at the back with the cliffs. Because now you see the problem here. This is what we've got. We've got these houses are now clipping over. The cliff is clipping over some of these houses. Honestly, I think the best solution to this is just to delete that. With the right planning and the right cliff and the right angle of stuff, it would be fully possible to do what I intended there. But I just don't know if it is if I've got what I need to do it, put it off there. Because while I can make that go under that cliff, the rest of this cliff is cropping up over them. Unless I can crop the cliff. Is there a crop option? No, if I flatten it, that's not going to help at all. That's going to put it behind everything. But what if I flatten that to the background? No, that actually doesn't help. I've got an idea. I'm going to duplicate that cliff into the exact same position. I'm going to flatten one of the cliffs to the background. And then the other one, what I want is a way to crop the cliff so that I only use part of the cliff. That's what I'm aiming. That's what I'd like to be able to do. What if I flatten it to the foreground? Ooh, that did not work quite as I wanted. What exactly did that do? See, that solved the issue of it being stuck on them. See, that's our line there. That's our foreground line. We've got the mask. The mask is in place, and that's fine. The mask does what we want it to. When I flatten this to the background, of course, that's what it does. Right. Because it disappears behind the foreground. What if I flatten it to the foreground? Then it does that. But makes the line very visible. What I would like to do here is be able to crop one and put it on a lower crop them both and put one on the lower elevation. That's what I'd like to be able to do, is crop them. I don't know if there's a way to do that. Right. This is really the biggest issue I've come across. Flattening it to whatever background or foreground or whatever isn't a solution, and it's not gonna do what we want. See, we could just raise these houses up to be above it, but then they're above the other house, unless we leave enough of a gap that they don't look out of place being above that house. It requires a sizable gap like that, but honestly, where I am with this, that might be the only way. And then space them out a bit like that. Move this one forwards so that it isn't overlapping with the back end of the cliff. That's the best I got. That's the best solution I got. It just means a bit of a wider road then back there. so as to hide the fact that those houses are on a way upper level, you know, way higher. Over here we've got we're gonna leave like a big opening here to help with the difference between the two layers, which we've got here. We're gonna leave a bigger opening. Use a couple of these smaller buildings to close the gap, and then we're gonna put something important in the middle, like a church or something that would explain the need for extra space. So we want to get like a tower or something. So let's get like something important looking, like a big tower or something. That's a tower. Maybe not the tower I want though. Oh, here we go. We've got like a snowy Viking tower here that we can put here. And we're going to put that should be up on like a far higher. We'll put that right on the top layer. Put it back like that. There we go. That should at least fixes that. Oh, what the? That's a weird glitch there. There we go. But now that's looking much better, and that's fixed up a few of the issues. Then we just continue placing buildings around. We flip that. So we're sort of leaving a... This is going to be basically... It's going to have to end up like a main road, sort of. I do see a problem, however, in that this tower is... I'm going to have to move it back a bit like that. It's fine for its shadow to fall across other buildings. But it just needs to be pushed back like that. Or made a little smaller. I'd say both, actually. I'd say a bit of both works to our best advantage. And then we just gotta drop these down. So like that. We make them a little bigger as we come forwards here. And also, it gives some nice variation, because obviously we've got limited models to work with. So having these variation between sizes makes it look at least like a bit more of a varied town. There we go. So we've got the lower town there. Now we've got to sort out the stairs leading up. So we're going to grab stairs again. Honestly, I quite like these stairs. So I'm going to plop those stairs down so we got the stairs. But, no, they're a bit too small. That's my problem. I like them, but they are a bit too small. We need bigger stairs. Here we go. Something like that. That works. And I'm also I want to have some sort of pulley or lift system. Mechanisms. I think there was something in one of the dock stuff. I swear I saw some form of pulley type thing in the dock pack. Oh, we've got a little lumber. Tell you what, let's grab a lumber pile and drop it down near the docks. Just for fun. And like some crates and stuff. A few just little things down near the docks that they dropped off. Oh, here we go. We've got cranes. We're definitely going to put one of these at the docks. For larger, although where it is now, that's covering the stairs. We don't want it to cover the stairs. No. We operate on the assumption that they can be, that they're used to just the lift boxes that have been offloaded from down here up to there. So we'll drop them about like here. Which will prompt us to just move these logs back a little. And one there. In fact, that is, I think, superior positioning for it, going off the edge like that. So that's what we're gonna do for all three of these. There we go. Oh no, I don't want to click that. No. There you go. So we've got those there. But what we want is some sort of lift setup up here, unless we use just another big crane up here. It might have to be a crane. But a bigger one. Let's tune down the size a bit. There we go. Put it by there and up the layer. We want it top layer, or at least above the other stuff. So there we go. We've got a crane, and we can put like a few crates and boxes down here. Oh, here we go. We've got a whole fin for some crates. Crate there. Grab a couple of barrels. There we go. We got some shipments ready to be taken up. There we go. That's looking nice down there. I'm happy. I like that. Now up at the top, we want some like manor house, so a few mansions, a castle, and like an upper nice market. We want a few things up the top. But what we also need is a gate. We need an exit from the city, because otherwise the only exit we've got is downstairs. Is by boat. That's not what we want. So we want a proper exit. So we can quite literally just plop a gate onto one of these walls. The question is, which wall do we want our exit to be on? And I think how would this look? Nah, I'm not a fan of that positioning. But somewhere like along here would work a lot better. Like there. There we go, there's the exit. Wonderful. Now we need to put some buildings up here. I would love to put one of these fountain fins in, like, maybe where the castle is going to be. Let's grab one of these and put this down there. Now let's start placing some more buildings. So we're gonna get a nice castle. We're gonna get some like manor houses. We're gonna try and get those sort of things. So oh, that's a quite nice castle actually. Those ones. Let's see if we want to keep with the sort of northern feeling. We've got Nordic, we've got humans, generic sort of human things, citadel, crypt, lumber mill, cathedral, water mill. Not quite what I'm looking for. Properties, magic, modular. Ah, here we go, castles. Let's start off with the castle, shall we? So we want to... We've got a lot of choices. There's lots of choices for the castle. We want one that looks really nice. Well, we've got the snowy Viking one. That too... I'm not sure. I don't. It looks cool, but I wouldn't put it in here. We've got a nice generic castle that we could use. Maybe we'll use that. A nice generic one. What else have we got? What else have we got? Big walled off citadel. Nah, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling that one. Stone Keep, Fortress. The Viking one is quite nice, but let's go for this one. The sort of generic. It's a little generic feeling, but it is quite nice. It's nice enough. Now we want to add in like a few larger like manor houses. Which means and oh, we could totally put in a temple of some kind up here. A well? Oh yeah, we should have a well somewhere. I think the well should be down here. There should be a well somewhere down here. Like maybe here. But for manor houses and the mansions and stuff, we'll be looking in one of these. I've definitely seen them. So I know there are some. There's the shops. They must be in here. Desert building. Eastern building. Mansions. And manor houses. Here we go. Exactly the two things we were looking for. Let's put like a nice mansion somewhere. Let's put like this mansion like near the put a couple of mansions and manor houses over by here. Each of these guys has, you know, they have these nice. There's these nice collection of manor houses where the rich people live. There we go. Then we're gonna go back to our snowy buildings because I like the snowy buildings, and it works for the rest of the town. So we're gonna have a warehouse building, one of these, right by here. So the manor houses are kept clear of snow by, I don't know, magic, or very, very good cleaning. And then we just sort of follow the same script as before. We place our little buildings around. We're gonna keep somewhat of a clear area around the edges of the castle because obviously they won't build buildings too close to the castle because it's a security risk for you know, people climbing up on the walls and stuff. What I also want, I do want to use that public garden. at a point. So where was that? There's fountains. I wanna have like a garden, like a public garden. So let's put that. Or maybe I could put this outside the castle. If I... Okay. Let's make it smaller and let's fit it in between these houses. There we go, like that. Okay, that's a nice enough place for the fountain. I'm happy with that. This can be... What we might actually do is grab like a fence or something and make it this like a fenced off area where there's like maybe a garden, some trees and stuff. And then we'll have another one that's a smaller public garden for the not as noble people. For the not nobles. Which we'll have like over not near any of the stairs that lead up to the walls. Maybe over here. There we go, over there. So now we know what we're working towards. Building wise, as we build these houses and we just plop these down wherever as we find the room. Hold on. Oh, right. That's just a mistake on my half. On my part there. There we go. Now we just sort of build backwards towards the edge. Put couple of houses over by here, but not too close to the castle wall. There we go. Now we're building right up against the outer wall here. Oh, nope, not there. This one could fit into that slot, I think. There we go. Like, right up against the wall. Nah, that doesn't fit. This one will fit in that gap, though. Here we go. And ever so slowly, we are just nicely fitting this out. We're gonna put that there. And build our way towards that public garden. Like this. There we go. You know, they should hire me to design real life cities. Yes. That's what they should do. I found my new calling. I'm gonna become a city builder, architect. No, I somehow I don't know if that would be a great idea. They're pretty haphazard, I know, these buildings. they're a bit jumbled and stuff. But you know, that's because this is a medieval town when they sort of just built whatever they built the houses to look however they felt like. And they look far nicer. Like those old houses look far nicer than modern day houses. Modern day buildings a lot of time are very uniform and drab, and honestly, older buildings look beautiful. Okay, now we're actually approaching this, so I'm gonna grab a fence if I can. Fences, here we go. Oh, no, we don't want a graveyard fence. Is that the only... Yeah, those are the only fences you got? That's fine. We'll make do. Almost all of these are gate ones, but these ones are not the gates. Okay. I'll make this work. I'll shift it over so they looks so that it works and isn't clipping over the wall in a second. Right, and we'll tidy it up. There we go. So we'll move it back as well like this. Like that. There we go. Yeah, that works. And what we're gonna do is what I'd like to do is make nice little patches of green. Garden. Grass. Here we go. Let's get some grass. Is that all? Is that all you've got for grass? Oof. Okay. I have an idea. Which is we go to the paint. We're gonna get a nice grass effect. With these pastured gardens. And then we're gonna tilt it like that. And we are gonna have to do some erasure as well of as it doesn't fit properly because of the angles. Oh no! Wait, there we go. That just works. The grid is actually because the grid is that kind of grid. It's not a overhead grid. So actually, sorry, having to do it. Thank you, Automod, for finding that. I just did it. Want to ban whoever that was, but I can't. Well, I can, and they will be banned. I think it automatically bans someone when I block the words, so that's fine. Moving on. Right, so we got so we sort of got these manicured lawn type thing we can do here for the garden. So this is actually, I'm gonna try and sneakily extend the garden walls a bit to make this work. Or simply move it. But now what we do is we just want to move the walls like that. And there we go. We've got our, should have our nice little garden space. There we go, do that. There we go. Okay, so we've got our little garden space here. With a little pool. And we should probably have paths in the garden, going through the garden. So I mean, that kind of path. That's too big. What if I made the grid? Oh no, not the grid. What if I made the grid smaller for the purposes of that? Would that work? If I like double the grid size from 40 to 80, now I can make smaller paths. What I'm actually going to do is try and have like an exit in multiple places from this part. So if I can replace that with a gate one. Like that. Okay, now that's looking decent. That's a decent path, and then all we need to do is add in some like trees and nature. Some environmental stuff, basically. So where can we find this some nice environmental decor? Objects, vehicles, tents, build, that's all build. Ah, plants, here we go. So we've got like we've got some nice like hedge bushes that we can put in. So let's put some of those in first. And we can actually turn off the grid now. And there we go. We just want to get. Oh no. Want to get these lined up perfectly. Like that, more or less. Let's do that. And we're going to move them down a bit. Like that. There we go. I'm happy with that. Then let's do the same thing by here. Actually, let's get some nice little hedge walls. Let's do that. Yeah, that works. We wanna drop them along like that. There we go. And then we're gonna do that. And nice and simply like this, just across the entire garden, or the entire sort of paved part. We've left little gaps so people can get through the hedge and go play among the trees and stuff. We've left gaps at the sort of edges. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna leave an intentional little gap in the hedge by here, so that people can run out onto the grass to play with the trees. Kids can go have fun. And the same thing by here. Now we just need to put down some trees and flowers. For instance, we've got some nice flowers here that we're gonna sort of plop down along the path here. And then here we go, trees, lovely trees. And we're gonna go for some of these trees. They look nice. I want to move this one tree because it sort of blocks off the gap in the hedge. There we go. There we go. So we've got a garden. It's a lovely little garden. The next ad block is starting in 40 seconds. By the way, we run an ad block to support the channel and prevent pre-rolls. Subscribers and Switch Turbo users do not see ads. Thank you. Thank you for your support. Okay, now we just continue our buildings along the edge here. Like this. There we go. We'll build up close to the wall, not right against it. We'll leave some opening. Actually, yeah, these by here we want to be building right up against the wall. It's by the castle wall that you don't want to build up against. And then we're just gonna build these more houses here. Like that. Ooh, we got... Yeah, we'll have 2 identical houses next to each other. That's not a problem. We're gonna lay a couple closer to the edge of the cliff. Ooh. Being careful. This one's right to the front, actually, so we can jump it up to the top layer. It's not going to cause any problems. And here we go. We just plop in a couple of these down. Now that's where a problem we have to sort of move this out to the side. We're gonna drop this one by here. Drop a longer one in the little niche by the wall there. And at that point, I think that's... Yeah, we've reached the edge. So now, we've got a very nicely filled up town with all the stuff a town needs. What we want to do then is work with... We've not got much left to do, honestly. So we're gonna... What we do want to do, however, is the path leading out of the town and a little bridge over the water. So the path leading out the town, it should still be snowy, but it should be visibly different from the rest of the snow because it's meant to be a path. It's meant to be like a snowy road almost. That's not easy to find, but here's what I might do is drop in a little road. We're gonna put it on this brush mode. And we're just gonna paint the road leading away from the town. Towards the river. Like that. Where we'll then have a bridge. And what we can do is we can actually grab our snow, turn the opacity down, and layer over some snow on top of the road, perhaps. Okay, let's up the opacity a little bit, like there. Here we go. So now we can see there's a visible road there, but it's kind of snowed over. And then we want a bridge, so we're just gonna search for a good bridge. Yeah, like a nice cobblestone bridge. To go across the river. And then continue onwards on the other side, and I'm gonna have to make the road a little shorter on the one side. Down that way. road was a little, perhaps too big. So we're just gonna... Oh, no, we want to lower that brush size. That was an accident. There we go. Now we just drop down the opacity and continue make this road a bit frosty. There we go. And there. I'm pretty happy with that. That came off pretty decently. So we're gonna save that. And I honestly think that's a completed map. Can't think of anything else. Other than a nameplate. That's what we need to add. We need to add a nameplate to this map. So we're gonna add that now. So we're gonna get here. Map decorations, here we go. Labels. Compass. We don't need a compass. We just need a nice label. Here we go. So we're going to put this up here. And we're going to give it its name. So this is Moonlit Kingdom. We're going to maybe give a bit of a frosty blue color to the writing, because I like that. Give that. There we go. And there we go. We give that one more save and then export it. And that's a completed map. That's a lovely nice completed subscriber map. Woo! Wonderful. That was how many hours? So that was about 3 hours of work on that map. And honestly, I'm quite happy with it. I don't make these kind of maps. Most of my maps I make are top-down. I don't experiment with these types of maps very often. And I'm quite happy with my work on that. Yeah. Yeah, I'm happy with that. That did a decent job. So, that's gonna be that. So we're gonna export that. Got lovely quality. Exporting PNG because I feel like PNG has higher quality. 2K, and there we go. So this is what our map is going to look like, and we're going to export that now. Perfect. We did it. Yay, we made the map. That leaves us with a bit more time. Just the question of whether we want to continue work on another partially completed map within that time. Honestly, I think that's one map complete. It's a nice bit of work, and I'm happy to leave it off there today. I'm happy to leave that there. So we're gonna drop a raid on someone. Oh goodness, is Roderick live right now? This is the earliest I've ever seen him live. Sure. Let's drop a raid on Roderick if he's up. I'm very surprised. I've never seen him up. Seen him on online that early. But sure, we'll drop a raid on Roderick. So please do join the raid if you want to go and say hi. This has been great fun and another successful map making. So we will see you next time, and until then, goodbye.